there's more than, I think there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
Gunter English.
Yes. All right. So,
Oh, dang it.
the name of my presentation is "Why Are We Afraid of Talking About Porn?" So the prevalence, according to addictionhelp.com, 70% of men and 40% of women regularly view pornography each year, and that's just the reported numbers. So there could be people who just aren't telling us. In reality, the numbers are probably much higher because of the stigma and secrecy of viewing pornography. In addition to the percentage, there's also the age of exposure, which is a Common Sense Media survey found to be at about 12 years old or younger, which is heartbreaking. And 15% of the survey takers said that they were exposed at ages 10 or younger, which is ridiculous. Wrong source. I used to be a part of that 70% of men, and I was exposed at age 11. It took me until age 23 to gain complete control. It was in part due to the addictive nature of pornography, but I also was not well informed at the age of 11 of the seriousness of it, to no fault of my parents. Children at that age are just coming into puberty, and they have an excess of hormonal changes according to the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. At these ages, external influences like the internet, media, and people at school will have an impact on them and make them curious about the ins and outs of sexual behavior and relationships. If we aren't careful, children will find porn and get their sexual knowledge from it, which we don't want. The new drug. Pornography is one of the most addictive things out there. Oh, oops. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Oh, shoot.
You're doing great.
Click the arrow, the back arrow. Or not.
Trying, guys.
Give me a second. Pornography is one of the most addictive things out there. It has addictive properties, and it has been compared to crack in terms of addictiveness. Like any addictive substance, porn will trigger a dopamine release in the pleasure centers of the brain. As this happens, and chemicals involved in sexual pleasure such as dopamine, norepinephrine, oxytocin, and vasopressin are released in porn use, and the sensation is similar to the use of drugs or alcohol. And similar to drugs and alcohol, a person can develop a tolerance, leading to increased use of pornography, which can increase the likelihood of people looking for more dangerous sexual things outside of just the digital side of it. And the lack of judgment is correlated to the shrinkage of the frontal lobe, which is the judgment center of your brain. I like this quote from Orlando Bloom. This is from Fight the New Drug program that I really like. He said, "Porn is super destructive to your sex life, to your libido. When you watch multiple people at multiple times in one evening, how is your actual real life partner going to match up? It's so destructive." Pornography use, as stated, releases the same chemicals in the brain as a real life sexual encounter, and according to a video on this on YouTube by ASAP Science, it can mold our sexual tastes and desires. This is a huge issue because pornographic content is simulated and fake, designed to get the most intense sexual release out of people as possible. The more intense the reaction, the more sex chemicals and dopamine are released, making real sex seem dull in comparison, leading more porn use and less healthy sexual activity with a partner. This can ruin sexual relationships if porn is an issue in married or long-term cohabitating relationships. Testimonials. This is Brie Olson. She used to be an adult actor or porn star. She says she was shunned by society after leaving the pornography industry. And this is a little bit of a touchy slide, just a heads up. Pornography is harmful not only on a physiological and behavioral level in our brains, but also on a physical level to the people behind the screen. There have been many testimonials from ex-porn actors detailing the sexual and physical abuse they endured. In an article titled 5 Shocking Confessions from 5 Ex-Porn Stars, an adult actor stated that she was given drugs and alcohol before being filmed, and then the porn producers would record her saying that she was not under the influence of any drugs or alcohol prior to filming, and that she was threatened with financial ruin if she didn't comply. Another actor said she entered the industry at age 18 and looked very young for her age and was getting booked for child molestation fantasies. I could go into further detail, but for the sake of graphicness, I'll just leave it at that. The talk. I like this picture. Keeping in mind that porn is harmful on a biological and a physical level, the issue of pornography and the stigma must be addressed. A lot of people who have come out of pornography addiction, including myself, could have come out of it much sooner if we knew that we had support around us and that we didn't have to fear the addiction or keep it to ourselves or from the ones we love. Sometimes we need to know that we can confide in our loved ones. According to an article by Covenant Eyes, the fear of the sex talk is one of the things that keep children from talking to their parents about sex or pornography in the first place. So we need to talk. To fight this stigma, I believe it starts with staying informed around the time people's children start to wonder where babies come from, and we need to be unafraid of having the talk with our future or current children about healthy sexual relationships. They're going to find out about sex one way or the other, and the worst way possible for a child to learn about sex is from internet pornography, so we need to keep them informed about the dangers of pornography and how to navigate the internet safely. And religion can actually help quite a bit, but it also can do quite a bit of harm. In a church-centered conversation, we need to be reinforcing openness and not secrecy. Our church and Christianity as a whole has struggled in the past with focusing on the negative consequences of viewing porn, which reinforces shame and guilt in the viewing of pornography. Those emotions don't do any good in helping with those who struggle with it. The best way to help those who struggle is to have an open, healthy, positive dialogue on what sex should be, which is a healthy, beautiful expression of love between two married people. ChurchofJesusChrist.org states that sex is an expression of love within marriage and allows husband and wife to participate in the creation of life. That is what the conversation should be in a religious context, in conjunction with staying informed on the scientific risks and the social stigma. I hope we can all stay informed on the harms of pornography and how it affects everyone involved. There is no ethical way to view pornography for ourselves or for the people behind the screen. It is destructive and harmful in a portrayal of sex that is so easily accessible in today's increasingly digital landscape, and none of us can afford to be ignorant. None of us can afford to be afraid to talk about it either. If we can't talk about it or spread awareness of the danger, we put our next generation at risk of falling into the trap of pornography addiction, potentially destroying their future relationships. Let's protect the future by staying informed and passing it along to others. Thanks for listening.